Hey guys, this is Ray and Paul from the No Color Thick Skin podcast. Thank y'all for coming here and watching us as we dive into another episode. This week, man, we had a lot going on. Something that was historical, something that we've never seen before, man. Nobody has ever seen this happen before, ever. And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to give our input and our views on, how this came to be. A lot of the key figures in this whole thing, and just give our input and kind of what we feel about the whole ordeal. But, before we get started, just always like to, do a tap in with my buddy here and just see, Paul, man, how was your week? We had a nice little week on my end, but how was things on your end, my friend?
Oh man, my week was busy. Just had a bunch of busy weeks lately, but it was much better than last week.
You had a busy week last week, weekend, man. You hit some pretty big numbers, so
Yeah, sale. I don't know. I hope we exceed those numbers.
Yeah,
but we are rocking and rolling at my work, and at home it's just like wake up, go to work, get home, cook dinner. Spend a little bit of time with the kids, and then it's bedtime and it's all over again. Cycle.
That's cycle, man. That's cycle. But it's a great thing because, man, you actually, do a lot of cooking, and you cook for the fam, and you take pride in that, man. So that's
I do.
That's great, man.
I send Ray pictures of the stuff that I cook over.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
Don't even.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We won't.
What'd you do? What did you do, man? What?
Did I send you pictures of the cookies?
No.
We better not talk about it.
Thank you for not. I've been over here fiending and itching. Man, what kind of cookies did you make, man?
You don't really want to know.
I just asked you the question.
Okay, so I did. So Betty Crocker has a recipe for cookies. You just go buy a bag from the store, and they have chocolate chip pre-mixed stuff. So all you got to do is add a whole stick of butter and an egg, and you mix it around. You throw it into whatever size cookies you want, and it's really good. But I tweaked the recipe, brother.
Okay.
So I went and I bought these little tiny semi-sweet chocolate morsels, and what you do is you get a whole bag, you pour, mix it up like it says to do. And then you do softened butter, not melted butter, blah, blah, blah. And then you add probably, I think I did about half a cup to maybe 3/4 of a cup of extra little bitty chocolate morsels. So it's just like little chocolate chips, right? And the way it came out, I did cookie balls about maybe 1/4 of a cup or bigger. I don't know. I was like scooping it with an ice cream scoop. Oh man, the way that they came out, these cookies came out was perfect because it was like chocolate in the middle, cookie on the top and bottom. So it was like a little bit of crunch, lots of moisture inside, and you can tell there was a little bit more butter than what you get out of a Toll House break it and bake it type thing.
Yeah.
And then I did a whole nother bag, about 2 bags. And I added extra chocolate, but I also added in walnuts, and I added in oatmeal. Oh my lordy Lord. It was so good. My wife doesn't like nuts. Huge miscalculation on my part. But actually, one of hers and my favorite cookie overall of all time is chocolate chip oatmeal cookies.
Nice.
So, anyways,
no, that sounds great. So,
yeah.
Let's take these marvelous things that you made this week. What's your cookie preference when it comes to the readiness of them? You like more of a?
Oh, yeah.
Are you a a chewy guy? Or are you a crunchy guy? Like what?
Okay, so well, I feel like if you. Okay, this is a complicated question. I'm going to try to make uncomplicated.
I come with the real questions. It's real questions. All right, I get to it.
So we are definitely the perfect doneness connoisseurs in this house.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
All right.
And I don't really care. I when I get my choice, it's got to be like crunchy on the bottom and nice and soft on the top, but not doughy.
Yeah.
And like anything baked, once you take stuff out of the oven, the sheet is still hot. So that baking sheet will still cook the cookies for a little bit longer, the muffins or cake or whatever it is.
The residual.
Yep.
The residual heat.
Yeah, it'll continue to cook for a little bit as it cools. And then anyway, so to answer your question, I like it crunchy on the bottom and a little bit softer on top. So just when the brownness starts to creep over the sides, that's when I take them out.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
And the thicker the cookie, the harder it is to get that. But with those oatmeal chocolate chip cookies, those are a little bit harder to finish.
Yeah.
But we got them.
Yeah.
Anyway, how about you?
Deal. How I like my cookies. I'm no judgment here, baby. I welcome them all. You know what I'm saying? I welcome them.
You take all the cookies.
I take all the cookies, baby. Whatever shade they are, whatever size, I love them all, baby. No.
Yeah.
So, I like more of, I don't like the doughy. I know what you mean when you say the doughy. I'm not sure why people like that doughy texture, chewy deal, but just a little bit of, just a little bit of chewy, with that nice crunch, like you said, on the sides and at the bottom. That's you really can't beat that. You cannot beat that. I know guys who like a crispy to almost burnt cookie.
Yep.
And that's what they grew up on. That's what their moms made them. And that's just what they like. I think you are a psychopath.
First off.
And that's crazy. All right.
Exactly.
And you're doing that with no milk, just straight up hard cookie to the face.
Oh, no.
You're wild. That's crazy. If that's you, I don't want nothing to do with you. All right.
I do.
Go over it. I can't. That's
You're uninvited.
Wild. Yeah. You're invited to everything. I don't want to see your face. So yeah, that's different. But
so it's like Chips Ahoy hard chocolate chip cookie type thing. Like
not doing it. Even if you take the Chips Ahoy, and I'm gonna tell you, as a recovering fat guy, I've been a big boy. I've been a fat boy. When you take those chocolate chip Chips Ahoy, and you put them on a plate, you just take a napkin and damp the napkin, put it over there, put it in the microwave for about 25 seconds. Don't do the whole 30. Give them about 25 seconds.
What?
Pull them out. You're welcome.
Oh my gosh, you're a magician.
You're welcome.
Wow.
All right. So you want to take your store-bought cookies and turn them into something else? Yeah. Just put them in the microwave. Put that damp paper towel on top of them.
No way.
We in there, baby.
That's awesome.
You're in there, baby.
I had never thought about that.
You're in there. You're in there. So yeah, that worked. Yeah.
Well, that's way easier than doing it home.
I'm just saying,
from scratch.
But I mean, what you did was that sounded amazing, man. Sound great. But yeah,
it's tasty. But wait, so I send you that kind of stuff.
And I love it. I love it, man. I love it when you're cooking, because I enjoy cooking, as well. My kids, they do like my cooking. I don't do it as often, just time wise, just can't really devote it. But when I do, when I can make them a meal, it makes me feel good. When I can barbecue for them, I love to. My kids love my ribs, and I love that they love my ribs. So
I just did ribs last night.
Man, what are you doing?
Sorry.
All right, look.
Now both of our stomachs are going to be growling this whole
episode. Tell me, was Ray Charles just on your mind today? Like, or he just popped in your head?
Georgia.
You had that Georgia vibe going on.
Georgia.
the whole day through. So
I got Georgia on my mind, man.
Yeah, what?
No, I was just texting you. I was thinking about what, you know what, we had talked about nicknames, and I was like, man, I don't really know many Rays. What Ray do I know? And I was like, Ray Charles.
Yeah.
And so that's what I texted you. I called him Ray Charles.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, where you at, Ray Charles, or something like that. And he says, oh, I'm on 35. And I was like, okay, cool. Georgia.
I was like, all right. We got Georgia, baby. All right. So we got Georgia on the mind. Georgia was on the mind.
Yeah.
All right.
I listen to Ray Charles for like, I don't know, sometimes I'll find something that I like and I'm just gigging with it for a while, and I'll just listen to it for so long when I'm absolutely tired of it. Can't stand it anymore. Mm-hmm. And he's one of those. Yeah. Another one is Rod Stewart. His older stuff where he started doing jazz. Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean because sonically he's amazing, and I don't know if you know. Amazing.
Some of his music, like at one point in time when his backup singers quit, the ladies, when they quit working for him, and he actually went in and recorded their parts.
That's such a baller move.
And it's like, hey, young ladies, hey, baby, I really don't need y'all. I can go back here and I can sing this myself. So I thank y'all for being here, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to sing this song. It's like, what?
I need no one.
I don't need you. I don't need you. I don't need you. I don't need you. Well, hey, thank you, man, for sharing your week with me. And don't send me any cookie pictures. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Did we get into your week?
So my week was pretty chill, man. Just a lot of work. Kicked it with the kids. Baby girl had her championship basketball game, and they got second place. So they made it to playoffs. They did really well this year. This is her first year playing basketball. So proud dad moment. So proud of her. And we're having a surprise birthday party for her tomorrow, actually. So daddy.
So don't release this tomorrow?
Yeah, man.
Till tomorrow?
It'll be fine. Fine. I don't think she really cares about Daddy's podcast right now. That's not at the top of her list. It's all good. So yeah, we'll have a nice little party for her tomorrow. And yeah, man, just I'm keeping the main thing, So
cool.
Yes, sir.
Very cool.
But like I said at the beginning, Paul, we've had some history made this week, man. And who
are we talking about, Ray?
Well, first, let me tell the people we are not. I'm not the law. Paul's not the law. Paul isn't an attorney who knows the ins and outs and the ends of all of this stuff. I'm not that smart at all.
Oh, come on,
dude. We're not the fact police, man. We are brilliantly uneducated and ignorant. Yes, some ignorant mofos, and we fine with it because being suburban dads, we do what we're supposed to do. But hey, sometimes we just need to talk about some stuff. So we're going to talk about.
Sometimes you have to be. It's better to be. To not know what's going on. What is the word for that?
Just, oblivious.
Oblivious.
You want to be oblivious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not willingly ignorant. It's just more like I know what I can handle right now, and knowing everything about this is not what I need.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the state of where we live right now as a culture. I mean, because I think every week the Pentagon and NASA, they put something out about aliens and UFOs, and we don't even care, man. Like we don't care. We don't care.
Yeah.
It's like they got these aliens. They've seen these UFOs. They've seen these flying things over here. We don't even talk about it. We don't Chinese balloons, all that. We don't even. care.
Decorated pilots talking about it on the record. Decorated pilots. These guys, we trust these same people with millions of dollars worth of aircraft just for them to fly them around, just for them to tell them what to do, just for them to look at it on a radar.
Yeah.
And these are the guys that are saying, oh, yeah,
hey.
we have aliens. or like UFOs, unidentified flying objects.
Yeah, we've seen those things, and we see them all the time.
Wow.
And what do we do? Hey, come do this dance with me, Paul.
Yeah, show me how to Dougie. Yeah. Oh man.
Tictards of the world. But history. So this week, former president King Donald himself, Donald Trump, was criminally charged, indicted on counts, and he is the first president to ever be criminally charged for anything, indicted, and he's going to court. And this has never, ever happened in our history, man. Like, we're living in history. It's like almost every year there's something historical happening in our lives, man. Like, it's insane. So we are in a historical moment right now, Paul, with watching one of the former leaders of arguably the greatest nation in the world has the possibility of serving jail time. Right?
Yeah.
That's wild, man. That's wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if it wasn't bad enough that he was, so right now he's indicted. He hasn't been convicted.
No convictions. Yes, no convictions.
But what we're looking at is a bunch of charges, and obviously Trump is ready to run for another election, and I know for sure Democrats do not want him to run.
Absolutely not.
And, I'm sure that there's probably a bunch of Republicans that don't want him to run too. But the judge that is seeing his case is he ran on the platform of basically, I'm going to get Trump in trouble for something. And, that's what he's doing. So
yeah.
He I guess he did what he said he was going to do.
Hey, he backed his word up, man. He walked the walk that he was talking. So, but before we even get into all of the the things with being charged, I wanted to kind of go back in time a little bit, man, and just do a little bit of a time travel to talk about how we got here to this point, some of the key players and all of this, and just try to wrap our heads around, what we saw, why it was hilarious at the time, why it turned out to be, whoa, this actually was something that was a little more than what we thought it could be. And like I said, just kind of bring it all together, and make some sense out of all of this. So for me, I can say that I am completely torn in my political, I don't want to say team, because I don't look at like this whole team or side or all this stuff, but my political outlook is just so fogged and just in disarray because, unfortunately, growing up where I grew up and being a black man.
Wait, you're black?
Man, I know, it's crazy. Being a black man in America, I was told and I was taught that blacks are Democrats, point blank, period. It doesn't matter where you were born, where you live, what your socioeconomic status is. It doesn't matter what certain things would benefit your family better on this side or that side. None of that matters. All that matters was that if you had a certain amount of melanin in your skin, this is where you voted. Point blank, period. No explanation. Just that's where you voted. And that's where all of the people in my life who, my elders, those people in my community, that's just the way that they voted. So I voted Democrat all my life, just as an adult. Like we would listen to Democrat speakers before I was able to vote. Once I was able to vote, voted Democrat. But I'm just gonna be honest with you. The last two elections, your boy sat out. I was on the sidelines, just watching y'all play the game. I wasn't active, baby. I had a bag of popcorn. I had my adult beverage, and I was just watching, everybody on the field play. I was on the sidelines. So, like I say, right now I'm just in a moment of disarray, just not even knowing where to go, because once you start looking into things, you see that certain views are not the views that you agree with. They're not the views that you want to be associated with. And I'm not just going to vote just because I'm supposed to fall in line with a certain political party. That's not me. You're not going to tell me just because I'm supposed to do this, I'm going to do that. Nah, I'm a real man. And if I ain't about that action, I'm not about that.
Wait a minute. If we don't vote for Biden, then we're not black. I think that's what he said.
Hey, do you want me to flip this table? I watched that live. All right. I watched Charlemagne the God talk to President Joe Biden, and it was just asking this man just questions, wanting to get some understanding, trying to just, man, I feel like I'm about to have a nosebleed.
It's so offensive, man.
And he was like, "Oh, come on, Charlemagne, I love black people, and y'all, this, that." And he was like, "Man, if you don't vote for me, then you're not black." And I'm sitting here, and I'm like, "What? Did he really just say this?"
Oh yeah,
on national TV that's about to get broadcasted to billions of people. Wow, he really did just say that. But like I said, that's where so many people are, black, white, whatever, like whoever you are, that is where they are, to where it is, hey, black people, it's just Democrat. Like, we know we got the black vote, point blank period. It doesn't matter. That's where we vote. And so bringing this all back around, like I said, I just don't know where I am, because like I said, I'm not going to do this just because you tell me to do this. And I'm not going to do this for this side when I know that there are groups of individuals on this side who want the worst of the worst to happen to me. All right. We're going to keep it a buck. There are certain individuals of the Republican Party who don't want your boy to have nothing good happen. They probably want me to be outside doing some type of laborish things for them to make their lives better. Okay? They want to go back to that time. That's when it was great for them, and they want to see that. You feel me? Catch my drift. So it's like I'm in a place to where it's like, hey, man, like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do this? Why can't we just say, hey, man, right is right, wrong is wrong, and let's go from there? So that's my political side. For you, Paul, growing up, were you privy to the political feelings of your mom and your dad? Were politics something that y'all spoke about, or what were your early remembrances of politics and those things?
Well, I don't really remember there being much between my mom and my dad. I don't know. From what I can remember,
because you're a Clinton baby, just like I'm a Clinton baby. So
yeah. Well, I don't know that. I don't know. I don't really know what my parents thought about Bill Clinton. They didn't really talk about it with me much. I don't think as a kid, I didn't really have a lot of political talk going on in the house, honestly.
Yeah.
As I got older, I started, having to know about it a little bit, just because it was like, what's current events in school, and like doing history and things like that, social studies and stuff like that. And I think the first president I really got, I had to get interested in just because he was our president, was George W. Bush. And
there's an old saying in Tennessee, you say it in Texas, you might say it in Tennessee, that fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, you can't get fooled again.
Yes. Yes, actually, okay. So one of my family members. So we're a white family growing up in suburbia. Yeah, and that's not really, in my view, that had nothing to do with how I looked at the world, other than, my parents were both, Republican in voting history. I don't really know that I knew that, though, for sure. Mm-hmm. I think I thought that, but I don't think I knew that for sure, because we didn't just really never talked about it.
That wasn't a topic of conversation.
Nope. And what I was a little bit about that is I actually got a book from somebody in my family. I don't remember who gave it to me. I think it was my aunt or my grandma sent me a book. It's all like a for real, like 500-600 pager book over the Christianity of George W. Bush, and I was like, huh? Mm. I never read it, but I didn't read the whole thing. I think I read maybe a quarter of the book, and I was just like, man, it's somebody else talking about what things he's done in his life that would be like, this is what he did to, living out the act of being a Christian. And, I just felt like that was really insincere, I guess. And
expound on that, man.
Yeah, I felt like the book being written about George W. Bush's, I didn't see him do anything that was having to do with Christians, other than, he encouraged, a few different, talking about prayer a little bit, talked about God. If anybody has furthered the conversation about Christianity in a very, very, very bizarre way, it has been Trump. Trump has said the word God and the word Jesus and the word, and talked about, even the Bible a little bit, and, praying and things like that, way more than any president I have ever witnessed. And so, all that being said, that was really the first president that I got to experience. Unfortunately, a lot of my family was like, okay, he can do it. He's our guy. And then who we talking George about? W. Bush.
Okay,
excuse me.
Okay.
Going back to George W. Bush.
Okay.
He's our guy. And even after he said dumb stuff and did dumb stuff, on stage, they still felt like he was leading the country, that he'd still pull through or something like that. I'm not really sure what his record looked like by the end of it, other than he's very well known for taking us to Iraq. Yeah. And that is not even a country that claimed responsibility for bombing the Twin Towers, kamikazing the Twin Towers.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
so family-wise,
yikes!
Know for sure that
through that,
conservative going into George Bush, and so I don't want to say this disrespectfully, Paul. I'm not saying this. So you felt like you fell in line with that as well, and that was a comfort level for you, and your parents were going this direction. So you kind of went that way, or
I think the country was very behind George W. Bush. Mm-hmm. Going into Iraq, because the entire country just about was like, yes, we're all together. We're going in and gonna kill the bad guys.
When 9/11 happened, and he gave one of those speeches, and he was like, "We gonna get them." And then when baseball came back, and he walked out there and got on that mound, and he threw that strike.
Yeah,
it was like. It was out of a movie. It was like, it was the part in the movie when it was, the trajectory of the guy is like at the middle, and he's going to like that superstardom that took him to like a superstardom. And like, Americans just everywhere just went crazy.
Yeah.
Went crazy. So it was almost as if 9/11 took him into another area of just greatness that was like, hey, we're America. We're gonna put our chests out. We here, baby. We about this action.
And we
finna go get it. And we did.
And we did.
And we went. And
did
we
the dang thing.
We went. We're about that action. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's about it. Well, you know, and we were all succinct, but yeah, that's pretty much
Succinct and going to get the bad guys.
Yeah,
We're
going to
all
get
Americans.
the bad guys. See, the thing is, when I was that age, I didn't really have any kind of, you know, understanding of all the inner workings of politics and stuff like that. All I knew was that I wanted to live through Y2K, and Iraq was, you know, the Iraq War was going on, and that was right after Y2K.
Crazy.
So, but other than that, I thought George W. Bush was a doofus, and I didn't really know what party to lean for. I couldn't vote, you know, at that time anyway.
Yeah.
But you know, I was thinking about it a little bit. But nothing, you know, crazy. My parents weren't bashing anybody or anything like that. Well, bringing up Bill Clinton, I think that might have been the only president that they did bash.
Yeah.
Because he was, you know, unfortunately very human and, you know, made some
He got a wit. He got that.
Yeah. He's
wit. You know,
he's definitely enjoying his position up there for sure. So I don't know. But that's. I hope that answers your question.
It absolutely answers my question, man. So over the years, we've seen that even just during George Bush's presidency, he really wasn't the one that was really doing the things. What I've read and what I've seen in documentaries is that Vice President Dick Cheney, he was really that dude.
Yeah.
Vice President Dick Cheney was that dude. It was more or less like President Bush was more just, you know, the figurehead, just the one that, you know, that everybody sees and just, you know, Kit Kats, made laughs, they crack the jokes and they do all that stuff with him. But Dick Cheney was the one that was like, yo, I'm really running this ship. I'm the one in charge. We finna go get this industrial military complex popping. We finna put all this money behind here. We going to invade, and we giving money to the homies to make all these weapons, you know, and then we're going to go look for weapons of mass destruction. And we're going to put money to find these weapons of mass destruction.
Oh
and
my gosh.
invest billions and we don't find any weapons of mass destruction, but it's good that we were able to even just go and look for all of the weapons of mass destruction, and we didn't find any. But Dick Cheney
there
was
might have been one.
It could have been, and what we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure that there were not and there weren't, but we had to do it so we still safe. America.
Sure, there wasn't.
America. So you got all this going on, and it's like, man, what in the world is really going on? So, you know, you once, you know, you know, towards the end of President Bush's time, you know, we kind of, you know, we were all coming together as Americans, you know, hey, 9/11, we love everybody. Then it starts getting to a point to where it's like, all right, what are we doing? What's going on here? Why is the military still there? Why do we have our troops still there? Troops are still dying over here. Like, why is this happening? So then we start getting into these divides because it's like, hey, man, bring our troops home. Let's end all this stuff. And then you have certain people like, hey, we need to be there. This is what we're doing. We're staying there. We fighting the Taliban, ISIS, all this. And it was just like back and forth. And so we started to divide, and that was just so much division. And as we know, with division, the loudest voices on each side are the ones that are heard. Not those of us who want to try to see the nuance in things, or the ones of us who want to try to bring us together. It's this side all the way over here, this side over here. They're so loud, and those are the ones that represent the whole totality of everything, and that sucks. So it's 2004, and there's this mixed individual who is a senator in Chicago. Okay, Chicago senator, got a funny name. Nobody really knows his name, but they're trying to pronounce it, get an understanding. Name is Barack Obama. Like, what is a what? So this guy gets invited to the 2004 Democratic National Convention to speak, right? So I went and I wanted to rewatch that speech, because I remember when it was happening, and it was so talked about, like, wow, this black guy is up there and he's saying all these things and just bringing all this energy. And that speech, when he said, there's no liberal America, there's no conservative America, there's just the United States of America. And just the way he just delivered his speech. I mean, the dude was just a star. At that moment in time, he was a star, just a rock star. He was young. He spoke about things that he wanted to see, that he wanted to change. Unity was huge.
I think he had a dream too.
He had a dream like another guy, for sure. So it was unity and change and hope and all these things that we just didn't see at the end of President Bush's time as a president. This guy gets up and it just takes him to the roof. They're like, yo, like, this dude is really doing something. So then dude, he got swag, he out, he playing basketball, he talking with the people, he understanding cultural things. And so as the party should, they started to back this guy. I was in just disbelief. I could not believe that. Well, let me take this back. Back in elementary school, it was always a topic of discussion that, hey, you young black kid in the audience, whenever we had a speaker come up, you could be the president of the United States someday. I was just sitting there rolling my eyes like, yeah, right, brother. That ain't never happening. Ain't nobody in this auditorium at Mineral Elementary finna be no president of the United States. Ain't no black person gonna be president ever. I don't think it works that way, because every time I go through the history books, it's white. It just didn't look like it was gonna ever happen. So I just couldn't see it at that time. So to see this gentleman who, like I said, had all this star power behind him, it was like, yo, like, this may be something. And he's speaking eloquently, and he's so regal. I mean, his stance, just the way he stands, and the way he approaches people, the way he just moved was just, it was top. It was like, man, who is this? Like, he was a magnet, and everybody just had a lot of love for him, man. So it was
absolutely,
at that moment in time, we were starting to see, like I said, the rise of the soon to be president. When you heard about Barack Obama, or when you saw him or heard him speak, or those first times, what were your thoughts? What were your feelings? Seeing this guy, being propelled into, possibly, being the leader of, the greatest country in the world.
Well, I think at first I didn't really know if he was the one. I did not vote for Barack Obama, but the reason I don't think I could vote yet. I don't think. I don't know.
Could.
Yeah, could I? Yeah. Okay, maybe I did, or maybe.
Tell me this: what were your when you heard of him before? Because it should have been. Before before the vote came.
Yeah. I didn't. yeah, I saw a lot of really good speeches, and the thing is, I had already kind of figured out that politics is, a bunch of wolves in sheep's clothing. A lot of times, pretty much everybody, and I mean, you can't. I mean, it's so weird because it's like politics is a wolf's game. We try to pretend like, oh, well, that's just a wolf in sheep's clothing, and it's just this one, or it's just that one, or it's just this one, but it's all of them. And I'm not saying that all politicians are bad people. What I'm saying is that it takes that level of competition to be able to, make your presence known, to market yourself, to get your, campaign going, and to, get a good following. And this is really before social media was absolutely, an election swinger, as like it is today. So, back then it was, I think Facebook was just kind of barely around.
We're gonna get there.
But anyway, so yeah, I knew he spoke really well. I know he said things that I liked. And before the vote came around, I was like, man, just like everybody was probably thinking, maybe I should just vote for him because finally we get to have a black president. So I don't know.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. I get that. For real, I do. And I think a lot of people who were at a point to where they just didn't know which direction, they were like, hey, man, I might as well just, try something different, try something different with this guy.
Yeah.
He speaks well. He seems to, have great characteristics that I would like my president to have: articulate, smart, went to Harvard, can speak to the common people. And, that's there are going to be some tough decisions, but, that's the stance you would like for your president to have. Right. So, he's going through his thing, and, you have, I believe that first go around, it was, John McCain. All right. So you had John McCain, a war hero. I can't remember what it was, if he was a POW or I think it was a prisoner of war. Or he was something where he was
John McCain.
John McCain. He was with the bad guy. I think he got kidnapped, and he was. Well, long story less long, he got out of it, and he was rescued and came back and had a political career. But a big time war guy. All right, big time respected war guy, which really moves the needle in America, because for a certain period of time, if you didn't serve in the war, or if you were not a veteran, or if you didn't have certain ties to that, America wasn't voting for you. That was one of the things that Americans wanted to see. We see that that's, changed a bit over the years, but that's what they wanted to see. So you have Senator John McCain, who was so, boom, boom, boom. He had to go and get someone to run with him, I feel, this is just my belief, to kind of be somewhat of a juxtaposition of who he was.
Balance him out, yeah.
That was Representative from Alaska, Miss Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we get Sarah Palin on the scene. Young, attractive woman, speaks well, laughs, jokes, holds herself well in public, got everybody to, just has a good aura about her and all this. So it's the complete opposite of who, John McCain is. So it's like you getting them from both sides, which is very, very smart. So watching watching Sarah Palin, she was one of the first people who I feel was like, hey, we need to get our America back. Whereas I feel that a lot of Republicans, a lot of the traditional. I'm just going to say traditional Republicans were seen to, they just want to, butter their pockets, get their money, help their friends, and help the big banks and help these guys, and we're gonna work together and do these things. And Sarah Palin was like, no, like we need to be making sure that the middle class and our people are being taken care of. And so I feel that she was one of those first ones to really start being like a rebellion towards the party itself and saying, no, we're going to make some changes. And I think she really ignited, started a little ignition for a group of people who were not being spoken to. She also, as you kind of stated, she was one of the first to actually start doing things on Facebook. She was one of the first politicians to do like updates, lives, all these things where she was putting things out there on Facebook. So she was changing the way that our politicians would speak to the people. Whereas in the traditional sense, it was go on your CNNs, go on your state, state channels or your MSNBCs, and those things, speak with a reporter, have this whole setup to where you came in and a whole day where y'all had to do all this recording
and stuff.
Whereas she was like, Bob, put the laptop up. Hey, y'all, I'm on my cell phone here, and was going straight to the people. Mm-hmm. That was huge. As we know of the world that we live in now, what she did when people were laughing at her and thinking that it was silly that she was, why would you put a message out on Facebook? That's so dumb. That's what they were saying. And you see where we are now. But she was one of the trendsetters who started that.
I never put that together.
Paul, this is what I'm saying. There were so many things that were happening that we're looking at now, and it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
There's so much that happened that has changed so much. And she was one of the ones in the forefront to do that. Now,
that's crazy.
Now there were some things she was, getting made fun of, and SNL.
She had a funny accent.
Funny accent. SNL made fun of her. There was also an adult film star, who resembled her. From what I hear, and this just from I don't
hearsay.
Hearsay. This is what the folks talk about.
Okay.
They say that it was some some adult material.
Yeah, you don't know.
I don't know.
Not firsthand
but
experience.
That's not.
Anyways.
So she was getting put through the ringer, right? So we get to it's election time, and Obama wins, So, but I wanted to put I wanted to make sure that we touched on the fact that Sarah Palin, she really changed the game and made things. She made it to where politicians could get directly access to the people, made that something that's just the cultural norm right now. And she just changed the game, man. She changed the game. So
maybe somebody should tell her.
Man, call her up. I'm pretty sure we can.
You got her number?
I can figure it out. What? So so as we get to election time, I'm ecstatic, man. I'm seeing that this is probably something that's going to happen. It's a big time game changer that hopefully we always talk about. People say the word inclusion and representation,
right,
and things like that, and you see it in some small doses when let's say like Disney will say like, oh, we want to be more inclusive, and so we're going to put this movie out, or we'll do we'll put this person as a manager. But it's like, really, if you wanted to make some change, you would put people on the board. You would look at the Disney board, the board of directors.
Disney, we're calling you out.
Well, not just Disney, all Fortune 500 companies. Whenever they get on their political high horse, we want inclusion and this and that. It's like, okay, well, if you really want that stuff, look at your board, look at your board of directors, and put some inclusion on your board of directors, and then that's where you really are making some change. So that's how
Find
I've
a
always,
very well qualified, inclusive candidate.
and put them on your board if you really want some inclusion, you know, if that's what you really want. So for me, I'm saying, wow, like there's going to be a black man as a president. People are going to be looking at me differently, man. This is going to be great. Like, you know, things are going to change in the world. Hey, baby, we finna do this. All right. Okay, cool. Like, you know, it's going to get better out here. People are going to start to see.
Was this a come up for you?
It's a come up, baby. It's going to be a come up. So I'm watching, you know, I'm watching the, you know, the votes getting tallied in. He wins. And so we're like, all right, man, it's all going to be great. And man, when I tell you, some people really started showing themselves when this AKA, they called him with the Kenyan-born anti-Christ Muslim became president. So people were real upset, man, and people really started to show themselves.
He wasn't the Antichrist?
I mean, not from my knowledge, you know. I really don't even know who the Antichrist.
I don't think I would know the Antichrist if I met him.
I was gonna say I don't know who they
message us. Leave a comment if you know who the Antichrist is.
What would the Antichrist's pronoun be? What would the Antichrist's pronoun? Would the Antichrist even have a pronoun?
I think maybe it would be all
of it. Okay. So at the time you see that President Barack Obama has won the presidency and he is the president of the United States, you know, he says, hey, this isn't, you know, black America, white America, this is all of our America, and we're going to come together and I'm going to work with the Republicans. We're going to do all these bipartisan things. You know, what were your thoughts going into
all that? Sounded really good to me, honestly.
Yeah.
I voted for Bush, and obviously he lost. Thank goodness he lost. But I'm not sure that Obama was that much better of a president through his whole career.
Yeah.
You know, obviously he had 2 terms.
Yeah.
But initially, in that first moment, I was kind of like, oh, maybe I kind of made a mistake. You know, and really, he was a great speaker, and honestly, I think if he was here right now, I would be like just hanging out, just picking his brain. I would love to know what's on his mind, and you know how he thinks and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And I think everybody was kind of clamoring. You know, he was like the movie star of the political scene.
100%.
He's not only like a black man, but he's also, you know, mixed. You know? Yes. Yeah. And he's very, very well spoken.
Harvard grad.
And he says a lot, just like I do. Yeah. Okay? Get over it, guys. I'm just like Barack. Okay?
Yes.
Anyway, but I really, I was super encouraged by, and I did have friends then that didn't like that it was him that was president. Mm-hmm. And I did hear a little bit about, you know, people just elected him because he's black. Yeah, and you know, I get that perspective too. That's not like a racist thing. They're like, well, they just wanted him in there so that, you know, and I knew people that just voted for him because he was black, not necessarily because they liked what he was running on or things like that. You know what? That's why people have their option, you know? Absolutely. And I've definitely... It's still America. Yes, absolutely. And I've definitely heard worse reasons to vote for somebody.
Absolutely.
But anyways, that's how I felt.
Got it. So, yeah, so it's a monumental time, and, you know, we're seeing just, you know, how it affects certain people on certain levels. Yeah. Then we start to see that shift, like I said, with, you know, the topic of discussion being his birth certificate and how he's not an American citizen. And there were people who that particular thing was their end all be all day, every day. That was the topic of discussion for them at all points of the day, that our president is a Kenyan-born president who wasn't born in the United States, and he's going to do all these radical things, and he's going to mess up our democracy, going to put America back. And that was all they talked about all day, every day, Paul. That was it. One of those individuals who saw that and jumped on that, and I'll just say it, I'll say his name as I'm speaking of the time, was Donald Trump. So at that time, I know he's President Donald Trump, and I will be respectful to. I will be respectful to. I don't care. I tell people all the time, I will be respectful to whoever and whatever your title is. But I'm just speaking of at that moment in time, he was celebrity star, Celebrity Apprentice, Trump Tower man, billionaire that we know as Donald Trump, right?
Right.
So Donald Trump sees this and he jumps on board. And Donald Trump is going on literally damn near a world tour. It's the Donald Trump world tour where he is going on all news outlets. He's going everywhere and he's questioning if our president, is really a United States citizen. So as comical as it seemed at that time, all of the news agencies, all of the news channels, all of the newspapers, all media just started to flock to wherever he was. They were garnishing, they were getting attention, and he was just garnishing so much time. And it just started to continue to build. And he was speaking to a subset of individuals who that was what they wanted spoken about, because the traditional Republicans were not speaking about that. They were not, he's there. So their voices weren't being heard. So here's a guy.
So we're talking about when Donald Trump was running for president.
This is before. This is just with so this is 2008-ish. Okay. I'm going to say if my memory serves me correctly, because this is
Ray's got a lot of this stuff researched.
And Paul knows it offhand. Don't kid yourself. Don't do that. Like, hey, we're not gonna. No, you're great, buddy. All right, don't do that. Don't bring yourself down. Having a wonderful time here. You're great.
This is good stuff.
So around the time before he decided to be the president. So this is, like I said, this is before he decided to run or anything. This is just his world tour that he's doing and just out there in the public. Then the White House Correspondents' Dinner happened. And that's when he was there, and Barack Obama just roasted him for about 15, 20 minutes. And he was in the audience just stewing. I mean, he was just mad. I'm talking, everybody in the room is laughing. Everybody, I'm talking about crying, laughing at all the jokes. Obama has some heaters. I mean, he got them jokes off.
So good.
So, I think that was frustrating. He was embarrassed, and he was like, all right, I'm going to just lean in. So as he's still going on these tours, I believe he started to tell people like, hey, I'm going to run for president. And he started to assemble a team of former people who worked in the White House, former, big time politicians. Also around that same time, social media is starting to boom. I mean, we're getting like so much social media to where there was an organization, Breitbart. So Breitbart was owned by a gentleman by the name of Steve Bannon. And Breitbart, what they did was, it was pretty much the social media political platform for any and all things, white supremacy. We hate the blacks. We hate the Jews. We hate the
Breitbart was?
Breitbart was Steve Bannon. Yes. So when Breitbart was,
really?
Yes, that was, it was in the they highlighted certain stories in that comment section. That's where everybody flocked to really get off. Hey, we don't want the,
they had a bunch of,
we don't want the, illegal immigrants, that they're terrible. All that, that was just where they flocked to really just spew a bunch of hate. So we're seeing all this happen with Steve Bannon, and who eventually started to work with President Trump once he became president. So Donald Trump decides, hey, I'm going to run for president. And everyone just laughed him out the building.
Yeah.
They laughed him out of the building. They were like, there's no way that you, Mr. Celebrity Apprentice, you who has served zero capacity in anything political related, you've been a donor, and that's about it. You have properties and you've made money and you've done things of that nature. You've been around the elites, but you have nothing political about you. And they just ran with that and just laughed. But he figured out that there's a subset of individuals in this country who were not being spoken to, who were sick and tired of watching our politics, both sides. They were sick and tired of watching our politicians, the banks. We're watching the banks take over. We're watching the banks just do us dirty. We're watching the banks just rip over people. We're watching just horrible things happen to the American people, and they bailing out the banks with bank bailouts. They bailing out the the car industry and people who just you got these CEOs that are just making terrible decisions, and the government's helping them out. And it's like, hey man, like I'm in Iowa right now. I can barely, feed my kids a turkey sandwich, and I'm out here working myself off, 16, 18 hours a day. Yeah. I'm not getting no bailouts. I'm trying to do this right. And you have these, millionaire, billionaire CEOs out here just living recklessly, and y'all, every time they're living recklessly, y'all just bailing them out. What about us, man? I'm an American. I need some help. But
where do you think that bailout money comes from? Your pocket.
And your pocket.
This pocket.
And our pockets. It's us. So it's like, no, man. So it was like it was the perfect ignition at the right time to where so many people were just so fed up, just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And Donald Trump came right at a moment to where there was just enough room for him just to get in. And once he got in, boom.
It's all over.
Boom.
I think me personally, remembering back to what was going on, especially like the lead up to his presidency, he didn't even know if he was going to, and I've listened to interviews about it, like he didn't even know if he was going to do it.
Almost
and
a joke.
It was like, well, I could do that. And then people would laugh and he'd be like, no, I really could.
No, I could, yeah.
I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd asked him in the past, like I think he was on Oprah. He was doing an interview with Oprah, and she said, well, why wouldn't you be president? Lots of people would love to see you as president. And at the time, he was very, he had the same views actually, but I think he had previously voted Democrat, and had just kind of been voting for the same things, just voted for different people for different reasons. Mm-hmm. And he was on Oprah, and she said, why don't you run for president? He's like, I could, but I don't think I'm ready to do that. I don't know that I'm ready to put what I'm doing down. And then you could see how when he started saying things like, hey, what if I did run for president and stuff like that, he knew he would have to jump over these giant hurdles for, acceptance, because he's, previously had been known as like, multi-millionaire playboy, mm-hmm. To like somebody that was actually building something. And then suddenly he had a family, and suddenly, these things. And he's like, I feel like we're getting away from the things that made this country great. And that's where MAGA came from. And a lot of people viewed that on the left as being like, so you want slavery again, or you want like Jim Crow laws, or what are you looking for? But in reality, and I really do sincerely believe that he meant, a family is, he was speaking to the middle class. and he's like, hey, we need to have family values again. We need to have, taxes need to like chill. We need to chill with these taxes so that people can live and, have, keep most of their paycheck and stuff like that. And we want to bring spending down. That was another big thing of his, is like he sees, people in government just making huge additions to the budget, and also additions to our deficit, and basically what we owe ourselves. We have to sell bonds to other countries so that we can bring more value into our country to spend that money as a government. Anyway, so that was another big thing. And then he also did the thing about, illegals, the people that we're bringing over aren't the best people and things like that.
They're bringing over their worst when it's not the best. When it
Which,
comes to
unfortunately, give me flack, whatever. But I do believe that too. I do believe that. But it's.
You believe what?
I do believe that we get a lot of people from Mexico. We get a lot of people coming in through our southern border that really should not be here. Really should not be here because they are just really bad people. And there's no vetting process when you go through the border unchecked.
And I think that's so I look at that as I feel that we are just going about it the wrong way. There isn't, and I've researched this, and it's so crazy that there isn't a clear-cut process for someone to come to America if they want to be a citizen of America, if they want to be here and live here. There isn't like a just streamlined process to really make that happen. There's so many different things that have to be done that are just insane, and they just make it ridiculous. Like I said, I don't feel that we should just willy-nilly let anybody come here and just be undocumented and do that. No, not at all. But I do believe that, hey, there needs to be something in the works, or there needs to be something that's so transparent to where it's like, hey, if these people are here, okay, we're right here at the southern border. Y'all are going to, we're going to vet you out. You're going to be here. You're going to live here. You're going to work here. You're going to get some type of education of what America is, what we expect of you, what laws are, if you need to take exams, tests, whatever, I don't care. There needs to be something that has to happen, and then a process to be able to follow these persons, see where they're going, and once they've, gotten into, I don't know what the hang, the feel, the understanding of what it is that we would like for our America to look like and want them to be a part of, and then let them be American citizens, pay their taxes and do those things. I'm sure that things could be better. And if we get to a point to where, hey, we notice that this isn't the type of we vetted this person out, this isn't the type of person that we want here, and you got to go, partner. Like, you can't be a part of this process. So I just wish that there was a process. And immigration talk, I mean, we can talk about that forever and a day, but that's something that I wish that that was just a little different. So when Donald Trump at the time was talking about a lot of immigration, and people, like you said, they jumped on that, and that was just another thing, build a wall. You talked about MAGA. For me, I think, like I said, I am an American. Mm-hmm. I love this country. I love being here. The thing about MAGA, I think, was the word again. So make America great, man, let's do it. Because we want America to be great. We want America to always be this great place to where we live. I think it got under some people's skin, or it came off a certain way when it was like, hey, let's make America great again. And the question is, okay, so if we're going to make America great again, I hear you. Uh-huh. Tell me where we're going to look and we're going to make our America now like this America. That's going to be tough for some people.
Yeah.
It's just going to be tough for some people, unfortunately, man.
Yeah, it is.
And like I said, I hear what you're saying when you say, hey, the intent was to, hey, middle class, middle America, hey, common folk, I want us to get to where, hey, you know, back in XYZ day when we could get a house, you know, y'all could get a house cheap. You can, you know,
So
things
cheap.
were cheap, gas was cheap, and
my
everything. Everybody was able to live comfortably. That's what we want the America to be. But like I said, it's just that word of again where it just made some people feel a certain type of way, unfortunately. Man.
So we got to wrap it up here pretty quick, guys. But I just want to end on this. Think about this. Today we look at things being so cheap back in the day, but back in the day, less money equaled the same amount of money, the same value, right?
Yeah.
So you paid $60,000 for a house, but that was a lot of money back then.
Mm-hmm.
Also, our money was worth more back then.
Absolutely.
If you know anything about inflation. So unfortunately, today our money is inflated way beyond belief.
Yeah.
And that's why we spend, you know, so much money on houses and cars and things, and why, you know, eggs are $5 and, you know, $6 at the grocery store. And, you know, back in the day, they used to cost, I don't know, 50 cents for a dozen eggs or whatever at the grocery store. So it's just, you know, things have inflated quite a bit. And I think so I feel like there were a lot of things about, now don't get me wrong, I think Trump is a person that is really difficult to grasp and say, here's what he is.
Yeah.
So he's a very three-dimensional character, and I've likened him like this. Like there's been people, maybe even a father figure type person that he resembles, and he's tough. He's strict. But he's also very valued. He's got morals where they count, you know, and he's there with a vested interest, a full vested interest in making sure that his country succeeds, not in the way that a politician would be, but somebody that wants his business to be successful, that wants the companies that he works with and for to be successful. And bringing it back to what he was saying before, he's not ready to run for president, stuff like that. He was ready to run to be president once he realized that a lot of the values that we were holding as a country, and one of those things, big thing, was bringing value back into the country. So that's all I got.
Yeah, for sure. Man, it's a lot to dive into, man. Like politics is. I mean, politics. We can just go for.
We should do one on each president, but I really want to brush up on some of their stuff. But.
And as you said, like I can completely understand where, like I said, the intent was. Like I said, unfortunately, it got convoluted with so many different things that happened in his personal life. Things that he said, things that happened as far as
financial
contributions to what I think he said she was a pit bull faced. Whatever he called her, man. I don't know. That's wild.
That was Biden. That was Biden.
He said something wild about her as well, just recently.
But wait, which one?
Trump said something about Stormy. He called her something. He called her something crazy. Yeah, but I'll put a bow on what I was thinking as well, as far as once we got to where it was the real deal that he was going to run, and then the Democrats were looking and trying to figure out which direction they were going to go. And I mean, for forever in the day, they were pushing Hillary Clinton down our throats. And that was just the biggest mistake that they could have made. That was the worst person to put up against him. I truly believe that if Bernie Sanders would have won the primary, I believe he would have beaten Donald Trump, because Bernie leans more towards that middle, and I think he would have been able to hold on. But when the Democratic establishment put all those things in place to where they forced us to be there for Hillary. It was like that. It's either Hillary or him, and everybody was like, man. And like I said, it was too many people who were not being heard, who just hated her guts, and they were just like, no, I'm going there. And even as his reelection, when Bernie could have won again, and they pulled Buttigieg and all the other candidates together for one of the primaries to vote. It was like you were splitting all these votes that could have gone directly to Bernie, but all those votes got split. It still went to Hillary, and
that was problematic.
And it was like, this is ridiculous.
It gets into the strategy of election time too.
It's terrible.
I mean, it's its own
it's
thing.
insane. But like we say, it's the political parties that run our country. It's just it's party. It's really not about us as what we like and what would be best for America. Yeah, it's just what's best for the party. So, but man, like I said, we're just in a point of history right now, and no matter how you feel about former President Donald Trump, we're going to be witnessing something that we've never seen. We're going to brush up on it. We'll talk about it more. I know Paul and I will have some more conversations about it, but
plenty more probably.
Plenty more conversations about this. So, but hey, thank you guys for spending some time with us today. Listen to us as we just kind of want to break this down and just be as transparent as we were. But like I said, we didn't want to just give you all just what was happening. Just kind of want to give you a little timeline to kind of remind you guys just some things that just happened over the years that brought us to this point. So with that being said, I'm Ray, this is Paul, No Color Thick Skin Podcast. If you can, subscribe to us. I know we're on YouTube, Spotify. Hit the notification bell as well. We'll greatly appreciate that.
Please.
All that is good for us. So until next time, we're out. Peace.
Bye, y'all.